Hey, can you hear me? Wake up. Finally, you're awake. How did you end up here? It's been so long since anyone's ever visited. You want to know where you are right now? You are here in a temple. So mind your manners. Come over here. You're asking a lot of questions. Are you that interested in our traditions? If you must know, this is where we used to perform. Hmm? You listened to my story. Well, thank you. So you see, my people's performances are rooted in our rites of magic. We express our wishes to the spirits and the supernatural by conducting rites and reciting prayers. With this practice, Japanese theater was born. The sacred Kagura dance, which I personally perform in this temple, is a common example of the ceremonial rites we conduct. We priestesses assure that our ritualistic traditions always upholds our religious beliefs. And with those beliefs spawn different forms of songs and dances for worship, which are an archetype of the Japanese theater we now know. Songs like Dengaku, or field music, is a ritual to pray to the gods for agricultural fertility, which is closely related to Shintoism. While dances like the Sarugaku, which rose with the arrival of Buddhism here in Japan, are used as a teaching method. Religion and cultural beliefs are the pioneers of Japanese theater. Priestesses like me are the cultivators of such rich art forms. Do remember that, little one. I haven't talked this much in a long time now. You seem so enthusiastic to learn about our tradition. Keep it in mind, please. As long as someone remembers it, surely it won't fade with time. You want to know what's inside the building? Go on then. I won't stop you.
Excuse me. What are you doing here? The play hasn't even started yet. What do you mean, what show? The Kakuseni, of course. We put our all in this, so it's bound to be a success. You really shouldn't be in here, but clearly haven't heard about Nogaku, and it's a real shame. Listen for a bit. I might as well teach you a few things. On your way here, have you seen some priestesses in the temples outside? Truth be told, everything we do here on this stage are rooted from all the things the priestess told you. Do you remember the priestess mentioning the Sarugaku? It was refined by Kyotsugu Konami, a renowned Sarugaku actor, and eventually perfected by his son, Ziyami Motokiyo, into the Nogaku or Noh Theater, which we Shide actors perform on this very stage. Oh, you want to know about the mask I'm wearing? Her mask signifies the overall aesthetic of our play. Simple yet haunting, elegant yet mysterious. We wear masks to embody the character we are playing, which includes elderly, men, women, god, monsters, and demons. Oh, and this fan I'm holding here, it's not just a decoration, it's used as a tamashiro, or receptacle of the gods. Dancers use those fans when starting a ritual in order to purify the stage, to invite the gods to participate. Such rituals are done because associating uncleanliness and impurity with the gods will prevent them from attending the Nogaku. The genre of Nogaku focuses on fantasy and mythology, which makes sense since Nogaku is derived from Sarugaku, which is filled with religious ideas mainly from Shintoism and Buddhism. We usually start a play with the use of a fan to attract the divine spirits and to cleanse the stage. Then the play proceeds with three main actors on the stage, which are the Waki, Sure, and yours truly, the Shide. Not to brag or anything, but as a Shide actor, I am the main character. The Waki, on the other hand, is a secondary character that challenges and prompts the protagonist, while the Turret is a role that is meant to be the Shide's companion. From there, the Hayashi accompanies the actor's movements with a flute and 3 drums. With the Hayashi, there is also a 6 to 10 people ensemble to sing and narrate lines. Also, to break the tension, a kyogen, or comedy scenes, will be played in between Noh performances. Kyogen uses stylized pantomime along with dialogues, satire, and slapstick. Those Kyogen performances will leave you gasping for air. Our shogun, Ashikaga Yoshimitsu, is actually patron of both Kanami and his son Ziami. Through their interactions with the nobilities and aristocrats, we performed the Nogaku mainly for the upper class, as this was considered court entertainment. Isn't it just a work of art? I hope to let so many more people see this. Our hard work and passions. And maybe it would even last for 100 years. You two, make sure you remember. Let it live on in your memory too. Now, you better go. We're going to start performing soon. I hope.
Who's this? You're not a customer around here. Besides, I'm on break today. A shame, I know, but that's reality. What are you looking at over there? This stage is where the performers do their thing. You didn't even know that? Well, I can't perform, but I can, maybe, tell you a thing or two. If you can afford it. Let's set that aside for now. Kabuki is a form of Japanese theater that started around the Tokugawa shogunate era. Director Ichikawa Inosuke III said that it's entertainment made by and for us common folks that got widespread into mass entertainment, which is the complete opposite of Noh Theater that's only for aristocrats. It's a theater form that developed here, in the Red Lights district, because courtesans copied the dances and narratives of shrine maiden Izumo no Okuni when she performed in Kyoto. Director Inosuke used to tell us that because the samurais caused a fuss, women and boys kabuki were banned, so now only grown men get to perform on that stage. That was from 1629 to 1652. The director loves these plays, and he said that kabukis are easier to understand and we have much more stylish costumes. The lighting he always does with the candle does a lot to illuminate the contrasting colors and make them more noticeable. And the kumadori makeup actors always wear is there to exaggerate facial expressions and emotions. They're more noticeable that way. The director says that each color has a meaning, depending on the character and role, like white and red. The director says our plays are a lot more complex too, from myths, histories of political intrigue like the Jidaimono, and even local scandals and love suicides like the Sewamono. Our stages have a lot more mechanism for props and scene changes, and we have the Hanamichi, this pathway where the actor can walk on from the back to the stage, see? And actors. The Onagata, or men playing women, became particularly popular. Director Inosuke said that they have to hide a lot with all the big clothes and wigs just for that role. And kabuki actors do this thing called the nie, where they pose for a while to increase audience concentration for heightened moments in the story. It's the kind of play where the narrator does most of the talking and dialogue. Some actors improvise and dancing effects were added. Speaking of actors, I heard they were outcasts that could only marry other actors, so it won't be a surprise if 100 years from now, kabuki actors can trace their lineage down to their forefathers who passed down that family style to them. What do you think? Even common people like us can watch and enjoy these shows. Remember what I just told you, okay? That way, even if they take it away again, you'll still have something left to look back on. Now off you go. This place isn't suited for someone like you.
Who's there? You'd better not be touching any of the puppets. You're not even part of this company. They're works of art and we need them on stage intact. Bunraku is not an art that has died down. So why do you act as if you've never heard of it? Tell you about it? Fine. But only if you give that puppet back. Bunraku is a form of Japanese theater that appeared during the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, and it was first called the Ningyo Jururi, because it used two things, a ningyo, or puppet, and the jururi, a narrative music used with the voice and shamisen. The earliest form of it was just simple jururi, until performers added puppets to better show actions. And when that happened, even the puppets evolved with the art and time. At first, the puppets were just heads and then modifications were done so the mouth, eyes, and hands moved. And finally, they gained bodies and legs all from 1725 to 1735. The term Bunraku comes from Uemura Bunraroken, who established a jewelry school that eventually turned into a company that dominated the scene, until the two became inseparable from the other. Now, to perform Bunraku, three components are needed: the puppeteers, the taiyu, and the shamisen player. As the Japan Foundation in 2021 said, the puppeteers give life to the puppets and is composed of the omuzukai, or a master puppeteer, who controls the head and the right arm, and the hidarizukai, who controls the left arm, and the ashizukai, who controls the feet. Of the three, only the omuzukai wear kamishimo. It consists of a kimono, a katagino, and hakama trousers, while the other two are dressed in black clothes and hoods. As tayo, Takemoto Orita Yuto IV in 2021 said, the most critical duty is to narrate the story in dialogue, regardless of how many characters there are, through powerful vocals alone. As he sees it, his role as a tayo is to energize the puppets as they perform on stage. Meanwhile, shamisen player Tsurusawa Sesuke in 2021 believes that it is his role to express the underlying emotions of some scenes, such as the sorrow that comes with the character's anger. As for stories, those are mostly set in real life here in Osaka, like a dramatized version of The Scandal in Town. A famous playwright, Chikamatsu Manzaemon, writes them to be realistic and relatable, so it will resonate with the audience, like the Sonezaki Shinju, or Love Suicides at Sonezaki. He and his Kabuki and Bunraku plays are really popular. Maybe you've heard of them before. I get it. We've poured our lives and years on his art. Don't just forget about it. You've seen how it's performed, right? Burn it into your mind. Commit it to memory. This is our life's work. Don't just let it die down and disappear.
Always remember.
And take pride in our culture.
Celebrate what is ours.
And preserve all things that came before us.